like to extend a warm welcome to each of you for joining us today. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces as well as some new ones. Your presence here is greatly appreciated, and we are excited to have you with us. The person with 16 years of dedicated experience in education, she has carved full-time tutor specializing in English, maths, and science for both primary and secondary school students. She has a passion and commitment to empowering youth led her to volunteer at the Chinese Development Assistance Council. As a volunteer, she focused on assisting underprivileged students aged 10 to 12, transforming not just their grades but their lives in the process. Her remarkable impact was recognized in 2013 when she was featured in Chinese newspaper for her exceptional work with a student whose grades in English and maths surged from the 50s to the impressive 80s. This success not only highlighted her effectiveness as a tutor, but also showcased her genuine commitment to uplifting students who faced academic challenges. Through her extensive experience and unwavering dedication, she continues to inspire a new generation of learners, equipping them with the skills and confidence they need to excel in their academic pursuits. To ensure we make the most of our time together, let's strive for open communication and encourage everyone to share their thoughts. Should you have any questions or comments during our discussion, please free to post your question in the comment section. With that in mind, I am confident that Ms. Cadient will not only share invaluable insights but also inspire us to think differently and act with purpose. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Ms. Cadient. Let's start our program, dear. Thank you so much, ma'am. Please unmute, ma'am. Please unmute.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you for speaking so highly of me, and thank you for everyone in Essence Group for giving me this opportunity to give my sharing. And we will start now. Okay. So first and foremost, this is a talk on Singapore's primary school mathematics. So I'm going to give you an overview of what it is like from primary 1 to primary 6 math. Okay. Okay, so for an overview of mathematics, right? Our primary school ranges from primary 1 to 6, which is from the age of 7 to 12 years old. Okay, so for math-wise, when students first started primary 1, they will acquire the basic numeracy. Okay, just learn numbers, count money, and then time. And then, of course, throughout this process, they will learn to develop logical reasoning and then apply it to real-world problems so that in future, when they grow older, they can help to tackle local or global issues. Okay, so an overview of primary math in Singapore, usually what we do is the first step, we'll find properties and relations by equating two different quantities together or putting them in certain relations to solve. Okay, and the next thing that we will do is to find a sequence, and usually a formulas will be given to students to help them with problem solving. And of course, we will require labeling, notations with diagrams, and using those concepts that we learn, we can try to apply to real-world problems. And this is where we get abstractions and applications on the real-world phenomena. Am I too fast? Is it okay? So I will...
No, madam.
So I will just move on, okay? So the next one will be in Singapore for our primary mathematics, we focus on these three concepts, okay? These three main concepts, and for every level, it will be segregated from these three main categories, okay? So the first will be numbers and algebra, followed by measurement and geometry, and then the last one will be statistics. Okay, so we start off with primary 1. Okay, for primary 1, what we learn in primary 1 will be numbers from 1 to 100. So they will be exposed to counting, reading, writing the numbers out, spelling it in words, and then try to learn and see whether they can fill in certain patterns. Let's say, for example, when we write 1, 2, and then there's like 2 blanks, and then the next number is 5. The students are expected to fill in 3 and 4 into the blanks on their own. So we start to let them know certain sequence and see whether they can adhere to it. Okay, then of course, we also start off with addition and subtractions. We focus a lot on mental calculation. So from primary 1 to primary 4, we hope that students can write things out in workings and do as much mental calculations as possible. But for primary 5 onwards, all students in math will be given a calculator for them to solve harder questions. Okay, so I will go into that in a while. Okay, so in primary 1, apart from numbers to 100, addition and subtractions, okay, within 100, they also start learning the use of timetable. So they will only start off with like 2 times table or 3 times table, anything within 40 and dividing within 20. Okay, and they are also exposed to counting money and do the conversion of cents to dollars as well as dollars to cents. Okay, so these are some examples of what it will be like. So it is very important in Singapore to know your English language well, because apart from mother tongue, okay, we learn English. Okay, in primary school, the 4 main subjects will be English, math, science, and mother tongue. So apart from mother tongue, the other 3 subjects are all in English. Yeah, so certain students who are not so strong in their English, they'll face difficulties in math as well. So these are just some examples of what the primary 1 students will be looking at. Okay, so I'll have another, the other thing that we will be touching on will be the measurement and geometry. So students will also learn length in cm. So they will have pictures, diagrams to picture diagrams to question them, okay, to ask questions on like how many paper clips how long is this pencil also, okay, in like how many paper clips are used to represent this diagram, let's say. Okay, and then for time wise, they learn to tell time up to 5 minutes, and then learn to segregate AM and PM, learn hours and minutes, and everything is within 1 or half an hour. Okay, and then they start to learn about 2D shapes, learn to identify them, and also learn to draw them on dot or square grids. Okay, so apart from that, statistics, okay, they deal with picture diagram, more of like using pictures as legends to represent certain numbers, and then they are supposed to count like how many sets there are in each classes, let's say. Okay, so likewise, I also have some examples, okay, of how the questions will be like. Okay, so am I too fast? If I'm too fast, you all can slow me down. If you have any queries, feel free to share. Okay, so put a thumbs up if it's good. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'll just move on, okay? Okay, now we move on to primary 2. So for primary 2 wise, the numbers increase by 1 more 0, as you can see. So in primary 1, they learn from 1 to 100. Now they learn from 1 to 1,000. And likewise, we'll learn the spelling, like how to spell like 100,000s. They will need to learn to write them like 400, you know, with a dash or without a dash, learning their place values, learning odd numbers, even numbers. And this time around, addition and subtraction will be up to 3 digits. Okay, so for multiplication and division, students in primary 2, they will start with 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10, as well as the division portion. Okay, so when they go to primary 3, later I will share more. Okay, we will finish all of the timetables already by then. Okay, and at the age of primary 2, which is 8 years old, okay, they will be learning fractions. Okay, they will be learning unit fractions, like fractions with denominators that are less than 12, not exceeding 12. Okay, and likewise, they will also learn to count money. Okay, but this time around in bigger digits. Okay, so some examples will be like this. Everything is in English, so they have to read through, and then options are given. Okay, before I move on to more examples on the questions, I would like to share with all of you that in primary school, since around I think 2020, Okay, we have already stopped examinations for primary 1 and primary 2 students. And for primary 3, we also abolish the mid-year exams, and they only have exams in end of year. Okay, so this is one reason. Okay, this is actually what the Singapore government wants to do in order to help most children catch up, just in case some students actually face difficulties in English. So yeah, I guess this is a good approach. So the questions that you are looking at now are actually from before 2019. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to move on to some additional examples. So like this thing. Okay, so the next example, like 20 cents, how do you make it into how many 20 cents are there in like the $1.40? I guess, yeah, $1.40. It's being blocked, so I cannot really see that portion. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next level, which is on oh sorry. There's the next example as well. Yeah, so all this involve a multiplication, but instead of just asking you 2 times 2, they actually put things into real life concept and then make students think, okay, how to go about to purchase things at a more cost-saving manner, or how many things they can buy. Okay, so next up will be measurement and geometry. So measurement-wise, they learn length up to in meters, okay, length in meters, and then mass will be in kg or in grams. So likewise, they also need to compare and also do the conversion will be at a later stage. Okay, so they also learn volume in liquid. So there are questions that will give like maybe a beaker, then they will ask how much liquid is in there. Okay, and then for time-wise, they will tell in minutes, and then they have to measure time in hours and also minutes, and also do the conversion from hours to minutes as well as minutes to hours. Okay, so for the shapes-wise, they will also learn the different orientation. Okay, they will learn colors, they will learn to identify different shapes such as circles, triangles, squares, rectangles. These are more of the simpler ones, simplified ones. They are also exposed to 3D shapes like cubes, cuboids, cones, cylinder, as well as sphere. Okay, so for statistics this time around, it's also picture graph, but with scales. So it enables them to learn to read and interpret from the picture graph. So these are some examples of how school questions actually input certain real world phenomenon into their questions. So for example, students are expected to know what is the estimated length of the sofa. So this is called some abstraction questions where they have to infer, like, let's say, for example, is it possible to be 2 cm? 2 cm is way too short. So they have to know and try to think what is the nearest estimate. Okay. And these are some of the examples of how they could identify shapes and patterns and which comes next. Okay, so I'm going to continue, okay, with primary 3. So as you see, the numbers get bigger. Okay, they add in one more zero. Okay, so numbers to 10,000 now. So same thing, counting, readings, comparing. They also learn about place value in the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, ones, and then also how they put them in different sequence, okay, and the patterns. Okay, so for addition and subtraction, they will learn up to 4 digits. Okay, then it involve plus and minus up to 2-digit numbers. And then this is where multiplication and division completes. Okay, they learn the 6, 7, and 8 times table. Okay, and they also learn division with remainder. So they are supposed to do the long division method, and then they are supposed to show the workings to show what's the quotient and what's the remainder. And a lot of mental calculation are also tested. So just now I mentioned that we don't have any more exams, correct? But as and when the teacher will be giving small quizzes in order to keep the students updated on and to let them to let the teachers know whether the students are familiar with the topics. Okay, so small exams here and there are actually used to test students, but not those major exams that is factored in for in their report card. Okay, then next up will be fractions, equivalent fractions like simplest form. So simplest form, so all, okay, in primary 1 and primary 2, primary 1 has no fractions, but primary 2, when fractions are given, students are not expected to simplify it. But from primary 3 onwards, whether they know whether they are asked to or not, they are supposed to simplify it on their own, which means they have to show it in the simplest form. So likewise, denominators do not exceed 12. Okay, and they have to also learn to do a conversion on that. Okay, so money is also taught, adding, subtracting money in decimal notations. And this is some examples of a fraction question that is tested in one of the school papers. Okay, so in this question, students are expected to know that they have to cut the square into a triangle, and then they have to count and solve for this question in simplest form. Okay, so for measurement and geometry wise, previously was in up to meters, now it's up to kilometers, and volume we learn it in liquid, and then conversion of compound units to smaller units, which means it's like from meters to kilometers, and then kilometers to meters also. Okay, so measuring of time in seconds, and then finding the starting time and the finishing time, and then they learn to identify 24-hour clock instead of just AM and PM. Okay, and this is where they start learning area and parameter. Okay, they learn cm square, meter square, and angles also. Okay, but for these angles wise will be only angles less than 180 degrees. Okay, so they have small angles, greater angles, right angles. Okay, and then for perpendicular lines and parallel lines, these are all the basic of geometry. So before they move on to primary 4 to be a little more advanced. Okay, statistics wise, they will be learning the bar graph. Okay, so same thing using scales on axes. So these are some examples of a heuristic question. A heuristic question is like a thinking question. So usually questions like this will keep students thinking. What are the numbers that they have to plug into the box in order to get the equation? Okay, so a lot of reading is involved, a lot of understanding of English is also required. Visual kind of observations that is required. Okay. Okay, so for bar graph or this histogram, okay, so it will be something like this as well. Okay, in Singapore wise, we have many different ways to help students learn how to memorize timetable. Okay. In okay. Okay, so those in checkered yellow are more or less memorized already, like especially for in primary 2, they learn 2, 3, and 4 times table. 5 times table is actually quite easy for most of our students, so they just know 5, 10, 15. Okay, for students who are weaker in memory work, they will just do the addition method. So as you can see from here, 5 plus 5, 10. Then if they cannot, they will just keep adding 5 3 times to get 15, or keep adding 5 5 times to get 25. So for students who are not so strong in timetable, they will just do the addition method, keep adding until they get the numbers. Okay, and in Singapore, most students, they learn 9 times table using the finger method. Okay, so I'm going to show you a video on the finger method. Probably some of you may know about it. Yeah, so I'm going to play this short video.
This is how the 9 times table works using finger trick. From our left hand to the right hand, we represent 1 to 10. To multiply 9 times 1, we fold down the first finger. Count the numbers on the left side, and that is 0 tenths. Then count the numbers on the right side. Is 9 ones. 9 times 9.
We are unable to see the video, ma'am.
Unable to see the video? Oh, okay. Sorry. Hold on. Unable to see the video, but y'all can see me? Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, I'll just use my hands here, okay? So how we do the finger method is we have 10 fingers like this. We'll just put it like this. So 9 times 1, you will cover this part. So 9 times 1 will cover the first finger from the left to the right. So 1. So 9 times 1, we get 9. 9 times 2, we cover the second finger, we get 18. 9 times 3, we cover the third finger, we get 27. And then 9 times, let's say we go to 9 times 6, we cover the 6th finger, we get 54. So for students who learns 9 times table, they don't have to memorize anything at all. So all they need to do is to put their hands out and then they just cover the respective fingers. Okay? Yeah, so this timetable just need to memorize all those that are in light colors. The ones in blue will just follow the finger method. Okay, so I'm just gonna move on to the next one. Okay, apart from timetable, which is a very important thing in primary school math, because most of the questions revolve around factors and multiples in primary school. Okay, so I'm going to show you some examples of how we teach them and help them identify or break down questions using model drawing method. Okay, so I'm going to show you one example of model drawing. Okay, you can take a look at this question. Okay, this question is a primary 3 question. Okay, so Melody had 120 stems more than Jeremy. After Melody gave 30 stems to Jeremy, she had twice as many stems as him. How many stems did they have altogether? For questions like this, because students in primary school, they cannot really see or visualize when the entire question is too wordy. So the very first thing that I ask all my students to do is to break things up. Okay, so the first thing they see how many times, twice, circle the twice, and the first diagram that I draw is twice. Okay, so I put Melody having twice as many as Jeremy. Then after that, after Melody gave Jeremy 30 stems, she had twice, which means Melody have to take back the 30 stems, correct? So I will return the 30 stems back from Jeremy to Melody. Okay, so after returning back, you know that Melody had 120 stems more than Jeremy, which means from Jeremy to Melody, the end of Jeremy to Melody is 120 stems. Okay, so in school, we will teach this model drawing method by breaking up very lengthy questions such that students can change these entire words into diagrams. And this diagram will help them solve for whatever thing they are looking for. Okay, so how many stems did they have altogether? So by drawing a box method like this, which is known as model drawing, okay, we can break things up. You'll know that this one box over here, because anything that I did not highlight in yellow, it means one box. Okay, so one box will be, one unit is 30 stems, so 3 units will be 90 stems. One box will be from here, 120, minus away 90, so I get 30 stems. So knowing that this is 30 stems, to get all together, you have 2 of the empty boxes. So I take 2 boxes, is 60 stems, and then I add this excess, which is 120, and I can get my final answer. Okay, so this is one of the example. The next example, okay, for example here, CT has 96 stickers. She has 57 fewer stickers than Carol. Brandon has 3 times as many stickers as Carol. How many stickers does Brandon have? So likewise, just now the first example, remember I mentioned, we always tell the students how many times. So when a question gets so lengthy and students cannot really identify where to start, we just draw the number of times first. Okay, this time around, I didn't break the question up or so, like show you how to draw the model. So I'm just going to show you everything. Okay, so first step, what I did was I draw Brandon. Okay, I draw Brandon 3 times. Okay, and then Carol is 1 time. So I draw 3 times of Brandon, 1 time of Carol. Then I know that CT is 96. So I label CT as 96, who has 57 fewer than Carol. So 57 fewer means from here, I will draw a box down, draw a line down, I'll cut this. And if I cut here, it's only fair that I cut the other 2 parts. Okay, so I will shade accordingly, and it's the same thing. So if CT is 1 box, is 96, Carol would have been 96 plus 57, and then since Brandon is 3 times, I just multiply by 3 accordingly. Okay, so this is how we do model drawing to assist students to understand math questions. Okay, and this is where students apply real world problems. So let's say if they have they bought the shirt for $50.20. Okay, or sometimes they will even ask, it's like they have $50 and they want to buy 3 shirts and 2 skirts. What is the change left? Yeah, so sometimes they will ask questions like this. Okay, so likewise, we start from 1 shirt, one skirt. Okay, so this model drawing one shirt, one skirt, what price? Then they duplicate accordingly. Okay, so duplicate accordingly and okay, whenever they duplicate accordingly, whatever findings that they have, like one t-shirt, one skirt is $20.20. Okay, two t-shirts, two skirts, they will multiply by 2. They will be able to, they must be able to see this. Okay, so the teacher will assist them because there are 2 times of these boxes, so they multiply by 2. So this in red is because whatever additional information that you find in your workings, you will always label it by putting it into the model. Okay, so from here, as you can see the arrow from one end to the other end, okay, so the difference in arrow will give one shirt. And that's how they find the answer. Okay, so question mark should also be given, should also be included in the model drawing. Okay, so is that any questions so far?
Yeah, these questions which you have shown examples, are
Yes.
they for class 3 students? Third
Yes,
class?
it's correct. Those questions are primary 3 students. Questions for
Oh,
primary 3 students. Yes. Yeah, so those are
yeah, they
primary.
looked,
Sorry.
yeah, they looked much tougher.
Yes, yes. That is why usually for in primary one the English foundation has to be very important. Okay, because the questions are phrased very differently, and sometimes students get very confused when the question is lengthy. Yeah, so we will try model method by breaking down the questions into understandable parts for students to look at the model to answer the question instead of reading the question itself. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but
Thank you.
Shall I ask you one more
yes.
doubt? Yeah, because as you are telling, as my co-participant said, it is tough. Why can't we start with small digits instead of 2 digits or 3 digits that X person is having more than this and all? Why can't we start with a small digit instead of 2 or 3 digits? These shirts or anything, whatever they have, they can go from simpler to difficult level.
Yes, yes, correct. So
The
in
number
primary,
can be lesser than what you have given in the example. Let them be having some 1 digit to 2 digits like that, below 100 and all, so that the children will capture easily. Once they get the concept, it is easy for them to implement for other examples. So this is only my idea. In India, generally we do like that because we start with digits of 1 to 9 like that, so that they will have easy way of understanding the concept in the
okay.
classroom situation. In the classroom situation.
Yes, and understand because this model method I only show you from primary 3 onwards, but model is actually taught in primary 1 as well because they deal with questions like more than, less than. So models has been taught since primary 1. So those examples that I show you are actually questions in primary 3. Yes. So
Yeah, this I think adding of geometry and statistics early in the primary school, class
yes,
1 also might have helped them to come to this level.
sorry.
Because you have started making the kids to learn the geometrical shapes and at the same time statistics from the class 1. So I think that could be a possibility for them to solve these questions in the class 3.
No, I guess. Yeah, but of course, there are students whom I have taught. Okay, they do face difficulties in understanding and breaking down questions despite going through multiple times. Okay, so I do agree that certain students they do struggle when it comes to model drawing or trying to break questions down. That's why for most tests to aid the weaker students, we have section A, which are like MCQs, where they can find like do multiple choices, like there are 4 options to choose their answers from. Okay, at least to simplify, make their steps easier, so easier for them to find the answer. And then they have section B, which is like the most it's like a one-liner. You just need to write your final answer. So if your final answer is correct, regardless of your steps. So those questions that I show you, they're actually found in section C. Okay, section C of the paper, and those are problem solving, more of the more advanced questions, but will be tested in primary school as well, primary 3. Yeah, so any further questions? If not, I will just move on to primary 4 onwards. Okay, I need to prepare all of you, because from primary 1 to 3, as you can see, the questions itself are like this. As you move on to primary 5 and 6, it'll just get even harder. Yeah, so I have some questions to show you, but the examples I won't go in detail because the steps will be a bit too lengthy. But I'll show you one more example, which is how I help students to simplify certain kinds of questions. Okay, so are there any further questions on timetable and model drawing?
Yeah, no problem. Please go ahead, and we have some more questions later on.
Okay, Ken, thank you.